Hello. Um, my name is Charles Webster Bear, and today is December 28, 2020, and I'm in Redmond, Oregon, USA. And my website is globalinternetgovernment.com. And today I'm going to talk about the history of the universe, specifically this universe, this physical universe, this known physical universe. So, 15 billion years ago, the universe was created. Or 15 billion years ago, the universe expanded to a size that humans can comprehend. So 15 billion years ago, the universe was a very small but comprehensible and expanding energy plasma. This energy plasma continued to expand rapidly and cool. And as it did, this energy plasma turned into quantum particles like bosons and neutrinos and photons and dark matter and dark energy and leptons and quarks and stuff like that. And as this quantum particle plasma continued to expand and cool, it formed electrons and protons and neutrons. And as this plasma of subatomic particles continued to expand and cool, it formed hydrogen atoms. And as this plasma of hydrogen atoms continued to expand and cool, gravity began to act upon them and form hydrogen clouds. And gravity began to act upon these hydrogen clouds and pull them back together and created fission or fusion and created stars. And as these stars, as gravity acted upon these stars, it formed galaxies. And the universe continued to expand and is still expanding. And the expansion is increasing in speed. So 5 billion years ago, the sun was created, and what was left over formed planets and started orbiting the sun. And the earth was created as a blob of lava. And then the crust cooled, and then the gas escaped and formed the oceans. And 4 billion years ago, life was created through random chemical reactions and it was like bacteria or something. And this first form of life reproduced and, and genetically mated and evolved into algae, which used photosynthesis to grow. And this algae mutated and evolved to form plants, which created the atmosphere. And these oceanic algae plants went onto the land to create land plants. And these plants evolved into fish, which evolved into reptiles, which evolved into mammals, which evolved into monkeys, which evolved into apes, which evolved into humans, which evolved into robots, which evolved into a more advanced form of life, which then went on to colonize the galaxy and the universe. The end. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You're too kind. Please. Please sit down. Please sit down. Thank you. But let's back up a little bit. Let's back up to, say, 10,000 years ago. 10,000 BC. Well, let's back up to 3 million years ago. Okay, so 3 million years ago, humans evolved. Homo sapiens evolved from Homo erectus in Africa. South Africa. And it took us a while to get through the jungle to North Africa. We probably used elephant paths. Anyway, we finally blasted out of Egypt about 100,000 years ago. And we went on to colonize the rest of the planet. And about 5,000, 10,000 years ago, we started to form societies and cultures. We started to farm plants and domesticate animals. And we hunted and gathered. And we created language. And then about 3,000 years ago, we started to create society and culture and civilizations and laws and a real structure to, uh, civilization. And around 500 BC, things really started to get interesting, particularly in two areas. Number one would be Greece, and number two would be India. These were two very advanced areas at the time. And the Greeks created the foundation for Western civilization, which is science, philosophy, democracy, theater, math, etc. And that was all well and good. This was later adopted by the Italians who brought it to Europe, along with other things. And so that was all very, very interesting. Meanwhile, at the same time, in India, there was this cat. And he was running around making trouble. And he started to think about stuff. And he was like, how come when I'm dreaming, I think something is there, but I'm wrong? What's that all about? What's the deal with that? How do I know I'm not dreaming now? I don't. I can't tell. Why is that? What's going on? So he said, well, okay, let's step back and take a look at this with some perspective. Let's say I am dreaming. Okay, great. Let's say I'm not dreaming. Okay, great. If I'm not dreaming, then all this stuff is here. And if I am dreaming, then all this stuff is not here. Right? Yeah. Okay. Well, what if I am dreaming? Then all this stuff is not here. Right? Right. Okay. So if all this stuff is not here, then what is here? Well, I'm here, or at least my thoughts of me are here. So I know my thoughts of me are here, whether I'm dreaming or not. If I'm dreaming, my thoughts of me are here. If I'm not dreaming, my thoughts of me are here. So I know my thoughts of me are here, no matter what. But all this other stuff, I don't know. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, it means that your thoughts of you exist, and you know that, and that's your soul. Everything else may or may not be an illusion. So if the universe exists, then you're not dreaming. And you don't have a soul. But if the universe doesn't exist, then you are dreaming. You do have a soul. So it's one or the other. It's not both. It's either one, the universe exists and you're not dreaming and you don't have a soul, or it's the other. The universe does not exist and you are dreaming and you do have a soul. It's not both. It's one or the other. And that's Buddhism. And Buddhism traveled east to China. And in China, they were intelligent and sophisticated. And they got it. And they were like, yeah, dig it, man. This is the funky groove. However, this also traveled west to interpret it twice. The first time they misinterpreted it was called Christianity. And the second time they misinterpreted it was called Islam. And many shenanigans were to follow. Very dramatic. Okay, so that's what that was all about. Moving along. You had the Dark Ages in Europe, and then you had the Renaissance, and then you had technology, and then you had the Industrial Revolution. Then you had the creation of America with freedom and equality. Oh, yeah. And then there were some wars. And then after World War II in the 50s, you had a lot of prosperity. And then in the 60s, you had a lot of prosperity. And you had people start to think about environmentalism. And people thought about environmentalism in the 60s and 70s. And then in the 1980s, China, again, China, decided to do something. And in the 1980s, the Chinese government and the Chinese people did the first environmental thing other than talk. It was the first environmental action. Up to that point, it had all been talk. But in the 1980s, the Chinese actually did something. And it was the first time anybody had actually done anything to help the environment on a big way, on a big level. And it was called depopulationism, the one woman, one child policy. And this was a big deal. And the idea was to get everybody to do it. And unfortunately, it didn't work like that, which was a drag. It still is. But anyway, we're still working on that. But anyway, so in the 1980s, the Chinese created depopulationism. And because they were smart enough to realize that we don't want to kill the planet and reducing the number of people on Earth is the only way to save the planet. So the Chinese did that in the 80s. And there were some intelligent people who were outside of China who tried to accomplish this as well. Like me, still trying to do that. Anyway, if the human race is able to depopulate, then it won't kill Earth, and then it will be able to continue to exist. If the human race is going to continue to be stupid and continue to increase the population on Earth, then the human race will die because it won't be able to breathe because there won't be enough plants to make enough oxygen for it to breathe. So that's basically the deal. And that's where we are today. That's where we've been for decades. Anyway, it appears as if the planet is moving towards one world government, globalinternetgovernment.com, and one universal currency, Fogbank. Hello, my name is Fogbank, and Global Internet Government, and Charles Webster Bear, and Depopulationist. But anyway, so that's where we're at. Now, assuming we can get through this millennium, we'll continue to move forward and evolve into robots and colonize the universe. That's the overall main goal. But right now, the task at hand is to depopulate. Anyway, that's the history of the universe, this physical universe. I probably left out a few things. If I did leave out a few things, I'll try to catch them on the next live stream. But I think I got all the basic important stuff. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a great day. I'm going to listen to some Velvet Underground now and smoke a joint.
Standing on the corner, suitcase in my hand, Jackson's corset, Jane is in her bed, and me, I'm in a rock and roll band. Riding the studs back at Jim. You know, those were different times. All the poets, they studied rules of verse, and those ladies, they rolled their eyes. CJ, oh, CJ, oh, CJ. I tell you something, Jack, he is a banker.
share this video and make your own video. Make your own video about history, the history of the universe. Know your history. Get involved in history. Be part of history. Make history. History's freaky, baby.
Some people, they like to go out dancing, and other people, they have to work. Just watch me now.
The trick is to get freakier than history. Get freakier than the universe.
Well, they're gonna tell you that everything is just
Yeah.
You know that women never really faint, and that villains always blink their eyes. Ooh. And that, children are the only ones who blush, and that life is just to die. But anyone with a heart, they would try to break it. Anyone with a heart, they would try to break it. Sweet
Aloha.